Right, hi everyone, it's Leanna here. And week 2 of our mushroom update. Now, a couple days or so ago, I did harvest some oyster mushrooms off my other block, and I've also kind of did a switcheroo with some of my mushrooms here. So I will just explain what I have in here now and what's kind of going on, and go from there. So these are the shiitakes that were originally in here, and they're coming along. Not too bad. They're growing. They seem to be okay at this point. Yeah, sad. I think it's too warm and probably too moist in here for these shiitakes, and we'll see in the other room why. This is the grow room utility room, so it is warmer, 72, 74 degrees. I don't have a humidity thing, but these do take a lower relative humidity. I was talking with Dave last weekend, maybe early this weekend. Anyways, he was having a little trouble too, so I just did a quick read to see what was going on. Yes, the shiitakes require a lower percentage of moisture than even the oysters and the lion's mane. So this lion's mane and this oyster was in the other room, and I decided to bring them in here to give them a little boost. Now, we'll talk about the other lion's mane and why I put it in the other room. But I think I might have actually too much light on this lion's mane, or it's humidity. I haven't decided which. We'll see how the other lion's mane does, me switching the rooms on them. I did add a little more water down in here, and then I sprayed them a little bit more. But I did get some mushrooms off my other block, but they're nothing like this one. And this one was in the cold room, and as you can see, there's several little patches. Now, is this a better block than the other one? Maybe. I don't know for sure on that. They do like it warmer than what's in that room by probably 4 to 6 degrees. So I'm hoping to do a video just on the mushrooms and kind of the culture, but that they require humidity, temperature, things of light, things of that sort. The reason, well, I think light might be the problem with my other lion's mane is they require less light than the oysters. So I gotta do some adjustments in here with my lighting. I sort of have to work with other people, but in here for seeing purposes, but we'll see how things turn out. But so I brought these shiitakes in just to give them an extra boost in growing, hoping the warmth will do the, or not shiitakes, sorry, reishi. Same with that, it's reishi. This is the boo-boo shiitake. I think I'm just going to kind of let this one dry out a bit and clean it up and see what happens from there. Kind of let it rest and then kind of redo the cycle like it explains to do, and I'll discuss that more in another video. So anyways, this lion's mane actually has more on it than the other one does too. So we'll go into the other room and take a look at everything there, and I will spritz those that need it and put their bags over them, and we'll talk some more in the other room. Alright, so we're in the storeroom where there's a lot less light, and as you can see, these shiitakes are doing somewhat better than the other ones did, though I think I am going to go ahead and harvest these. This is my lion's mane that was in the other room. Now there are several clusters, of course, but as you can see, they've turned yellow. Kind of like they've dried out, but I don't think that's the problem. Could be too warm in that room. I need to do some looking on that. I don't think so, though. This was actually, I thought, a little too cool for them. So I'm thinking more it's lighting. And so we'll see. These probably won't turn out. Like I said, I need to do a little more homework. But anyways, like I said, this is all the experiment. What rooms are going to work best for what and the reasons for that. Now, when Dave and I were talking, he had his in a room with 68 degrees. I don't know what his humidity was. He didn't know either. So, but he thought his were drying out. Now, I don't know what his looked like. Might looked a little bit like this. I'm thinking light though on the lion's mane. So, and this was my other oyster, and it has, I picked one big clump off of it, but there was one little guy kind of starting there. Maybe they don't, oysters do require higher light than the lion's mane. That's why I'm thinking the lion's mane might have actually got sunburned, maybe. So, so yeah, when it comes to adjusting for lights in the other room, I gotta do that. Might be best if I bring those other lion's mane back in here, because yeah, it's still holding at around 62 in here. The humidity's dropped a little bit, but still keeping these for relatively moist. So yeah, this has sort of been, like I said, an interesting experiment. One never knows what room may work best or not. I know Rob at Essan's family, Supper Gardener, he did a mushroom update today, and which would be Monday, and about some of his mushroom stuff, and he's going to do some more. And we talked a little bit on his, and he said he's had some flops too. So, well, we're just going to look at my flops, and that way people can kind of recognize it if you decide to jump off the deep end and start growing some mushrooms. If you're kind of limited on funds, I would say, and then depending on your environment, I got this at this little guy here at we have a Menards here up in Minnesota, and might be able to find something like that at Home Depot or Lowe's or something like that. But it's got the temperature and the hygrometer on there. And that does help. I actually might get a second one for the other room, because now I'm curious to the humidity that's in there and whatnot. And I don't know what my lumens are on my lights. I guess a person can buy a tool for that. I guess if you have the cash or you get into this for maybe selling purposes, it would be an investment to kind of step forward on your setup for growing mushrooms. But just setting out at first, learning and for your own use, get a few grow bags, try it out, see how it does. Figure out your rooms, get a minimal amount of stuff. I mean, a lot of this stuff, the trays and everything. I mean, if I was going to do this different based on the size of some of these mushrooms get, like the oyster and the lion's mane, I might get those pet trays that go in their carrier crates. I get some of those bigger ones. I have some for some of my other plants and stuff. And I might use those because they will give the mushrooms more room for expansion, where these are kind of limiting on these mushrooms that grow like this. The shiitakes are not so bad, and the reishi, that's not going to bother too much. But, you know, my past experience growing portobellas, those would be easy ones to start, and they're good mushrooms too. And then oyster mushrooms are fairly easy to grow also. So those would be good beginner mushrooms. Some of these are, they're not hard, but I'm not going to say they're easy. And I'm not overly experienced. And like I said, this was just finding out what rooms would work best for the mushrooms. And it looks like it's sort of a toss-up. I still think this room is a little cool for lion's mane and oyster, and that's why they were slower than the other one. But like I said, I got a book coming after the first of the year for mushroom cultivation by, I can't think of the guy's name now. He's with, he's the owner, I believe he's the owner of Fungi Perfecti, and he's got quite an extensive background and has wrote several books. So, and I have one of them. It's a very technical book. So, I'm hoping this other one. Well, they say if you get into mushroom growing, besides in the bags, those are the two books to have. So, and I'm one of those that kind of likes to get more possibly experienced opinions on this kind of stuff. So, I think my next update will be kind of about the mushrooms and maybe what went wrong. We'll see how they are in another week. So I might do 2 more mushroom videos, maybe one on what I figured out is went wrong, and then one on the mushrooms. I mean, I can get some information now. I'm kind of hoping to get a little better idea on the other ones. So, anyways, this is the mushrooms at this point. Kind of a 50-50 thing it's looking like right now. We'll see how this all goes. And once I'm done with these, I'll try for a second flush, and I'll go through the instructions and everything for getting a second flush. And see how that goes. And so I kind of use these as an experiment. Of course, each flush will get less and less, so I might get a good one off of that one since I only got one big one. And I'll put, I took kind of some video of that, so I'll put that in here. Now the oysters and the lion's mane really like the higher humidity. I mean, we're pushing 100%. Now you can see it got a little drier for them because the edges are browning a little here. But I'm going to go ahead and harvest this one. I might actually do that now. And you see this little guy in the back. But it seems to me, because this one was originally in the back here where there's a little more light, and I turned it around. And it's growing toward the light. So the oyster mushrooms really like the higher light. And from what I read in my one book that I have already, they do require a lot more light and higher humidity, which would explain things that I've seen on them outside on the farm here. That when the humidity, it gets too hot, starts drying out, they start drying around the edges here. So that's kind of the thing on the shiitake, or the oysters. And the lion's mane is slightly different. It does like a higher humidity, not as much as the oyster. But this one seems to be doing okay in general. I mean, I'm getting all kinds of little guys popping up all over. And my bag kind of tore there, so that's why we're getting that. So I might not get a lot of flushes off of this one because of that. They're sprouting more all over. So, you know, totally experiment here. So, because I've never grown these before. I have grown oysters and I have grown portobellas. I've not grown the shiitake or the reishi, but that's okay. I'm learning something from this, and so we'll just kind of go from there. I will go ahead and see if I can pick this one off, and you just tear them off. The shiitakes that we're supposed to cut off, but like I said, I'm going to do that another time and not necessarily on video. So see what we can do here. I may not be able to show how to do this. We'll find out in a minute. Tilt this up a little bit. Technically, they just twist off. Oop, the rocks are sticking. And so the rocks were help with the humidity, which I think it did fine for the oysters and the lion's mane. And it's really not going to affect the reishi much. You can just pop them off. Because smells good. Anyways, this guy is pretty heavy. Yeah, he's pretty good size. You can see that there. I'll just kind of set it there. But you can see here where I wasn't able to spray. Maybe not. Light's not that great. I wasn't able to spray and keep it moister. The things are starting to curl. And that could be partially age too. But I think it's more of a humidity thing. So I'm going to respray these guys and put their tents back on. And keep the humidity up there. But as you can see, whew, maybe total failure. Maybe not. Maybe we can recover this one after cleaning it up. And those guys are just plugging away. And I will try to... I was hoping my other book would come, but it's not going to be here until after the first of the year sometime. So, see if that would give us any more information. But I will do maybe a couple of mushrooms on this one. And with just some fruiting body cultivation things. Kind of keep it short. We'll get into the culinary and medicinal stuff, I think, a little later on, when I don't have as much to talk about in my experimenting here. Alright, so we'll weigh this one real quick. My scale here is set on 16 ounces, so it's 16.95 ounces. That's a pretty big first time flush, so they subsequently get smaller. Each one gets smaller as they use up the nutrients that are in their blocks. So we'll talk to you guys later.